So I'm going to be doing a track guide of Zandvoort here with the new repave. So as a Honda Civic, ran the same exact setup as Belle Isle with no changes. Best lap 43.6. I think a 43.3, 43.2 might be possible at the very end of the session with maybe a little bit better setup. So that's kind of here or there. But anyway, so turn one, I'm going to show you my entry to turn one on lap 9, which was the best of my session. So that way I can show you how I would prefer to take the turn, and then I can show you my quickest lap, how I took the turn. So on this particular lap, I brake a little bit later than I do in the other ones, just marginally. But I hold the brake, I let off the brake pedal a little bit sooner, and I try and diamond this off as much as possible. So you can see how sharply I'm turning the car right now, just by the kind of the trajectory that it takes right here. See how sharply that, so I get that last little trail brake in there, and then I'm right back right on the gas pedal, on the curbing, and out of the turn. So that one, I take the theory of diamonding off a little bit more. I charge in hard, stay on the brake pedal hard, and then use the braking to help the car rotate a little bit. So right there, I start feeding wheel and then right back on the gas pedal. So that being said, now we're going to go to my quickest lap and just look at some small differences here. So braking pretty much at the same point, but I'm harder on the brake pedal. I max out the ABS, or the brake pressure. So on the Civic, you can max out the brake pressure without really any negative side effects. I did some laps in the Elantra, and you definitely could not max out the brake pedal. It just made it understeer terrible. So anyway, so max brake pressure on this one. And see how I have a little bit different. I don't hold the brake pedal as long on this one. So I just don't quite grab it. And what I want to show is this small little saw, like small little trajectory change of the car. So see that kind of like it evens out. It wants to go straight again. Now watch that with my brake pedal and steering wheel. So I think I'm good to go. I let off the brake pedal. I'm like, I don't have enough. So then I get back on the brake pedal to keep the front end in the track, which is where I lose a little bit of time on this particular lap. And then on the throttle as early as you can get it, half throttle for a while, and then up to full throttle when you know that you're going to make the turn. This next one, up to fourth gear, all the way on the left side of the track, then you're going to probably do about 50, just a little stab on the brake pedal to slow it down enough. Because if you go without hitting the brake pedal through here, you're just going to understeer terrible. So down to third, jab the brake pedal, and then on the throttle as soon as you can, up on the curb. So here is the most important turn on the track. I still haven't really figured it out, but this lap was by far the best one. Pretty much just like if you guys watch the F1 race here, you can do the same exact thing. So again, grabbing a little bit of brake pedal, turn in, downshift into second. So pretty much perpendicular on the wheel, a little bit of brake in there, and then just on the gas as soon as you can. If you're down tight, the banking isn't as sharp and it just simply isn't as quick, like several tenths slower if you take it down low. So up tight, up top, and just full throttle as soon as you can get it. And that's pretty much it. This is just full throttle, nothing really, cut that if you want, doesn't really matter. Here is another really tricky turn. So my braking marker is when I'm in the cockpit view, is when this kind of ends and I can see it out of my peripheral. So when the little, Marshall post or access road, when that disappears, then I kind of hit the brake pedal. And if you notice, watch the steering wheel and braking application here. So see how I have wheel input, and then the second that I start hitting the brake pedal, I straighten out. Because if you have turning input while braking here, you will spin out. So brake hard in a straight line. Basically, I'm trying to straighten this out as much as possible to slow me down and then go through the turn. So that is just, full commitment. This isn't my best time of doing it, But just get on throttle as soon as you can. Ideally, I would be half a car length, tighter right here. Like my right tires would probably be right here, opposed to out here. Probably lost a couple hundredths, maybe a tenth on my quick lap to this. So this, all the way over. Again, brake heavy in a straight line as wide as you can from fourth down to third gear. Or maybe fifth down to third. I don't know. Anyway, this you get a little bit closer to that sausage curb, but big thing, get on throttle as soon as you can. You're going to be all the way out here. Now here, I'm just kind of keeping this in my peripheral, but I'm really looking for this. And you have to brake a lot earlier for this than you would think. It's a tight turn and there's just no grip. So all the way out here, brake early. There's really no braking point. It's just kind of where you feel like. Down to second gear. Hold that little last trail brake here for a little bit. On throttle. Accelerate out. Don't go too wide. So this is another turn where there's two different ways to take it. This one I swept out a little bit more. Sometimes I like to run a little bit narrower and diamond it off, just kind of like turn one. But in this particular case, I take a little wider line, then just really long trail braking on here. 1, 2, 3. You're almost 3 seconds on the brake pedal, and then on throttle. But you don't want to get wheel spin out of here because you will lose a lot of pace. And going down into the last bit of the track, this one is probably about the 80-meter mark or whatever. But in the cockpit, it's when those rumble strips disappear is just about when I get on the brake pedal. And again, really hard on a straight line. Max out the brake pedal if you're in the Honda. Hard in a straight line. Then you're going to want to straddle this. So there's a perfect point where you can straddle this and not get I don't know. When half the car is, that's half the car, but that was not an off track. But straddle that, because if you go around it, your angle's too bad, and if you just hit it with your right tires, it bounces you terrible. So work on straddling this if you're, wanting to practice a little bit, is just straddle that. And then, you have enough time here to full throttle, touch the brake a little bit, and you want to stay tight. It is very, very, very important to keep your left tires on this curb, because if you get up out of the track, there's absolutely no grip. So it's really important. You can lose 2-3 tenths in the blink of an eye around this turn, if you're on throttle too early, or if you're not tight on this rumble strip. So a little bit of trail braking, keep the front end in it, and then right up on the gas pedal. Thing of note is that the grass and gravel here does not slow your car down, like, what's that track? Brands Hatch or Zolder. The gravel here just doesn't have that same, parachute effect. So you can get on the grass and the gravel going in through this last sector. So if you get on the grass here, it's not the end of the world. So here, to me, this is the most difficult turn on the track. I really just can't get it right because it's really just so marginal. It's not a hairpin, it's not a sweeper, it's not really a kink. It's just kind of awkward to find the right momentum, just because the way the turn is formed. I'm always wanting to early apex it. So if you can't a little bit later apex than what this is. So if you could start your turning, so the angle of the car right here, if you could start that here. So your car is out here and you angle this a little bit later, you can get on gas sooner. There's probably another tenth or so that I'm missing through this turn. But you're up to fifth gear maybe? I don't even know. Fourth gear. Down to third. And then just on throttle, you can cut that curb pretty well. Then here you can drop your tires in the gravel, and it slows you down, but it's not absolutely killer. So that is pretty much the lap. We'll do a lap in cockpit view.